What is up, guys? It's a beautiful day today. We're heading to the junkyard. I gotta get some parts for the Nova. If you saw in that last video where I was trying to fix the starting problems, after doing all that it actually was better, but it still was acting up. So I did some research. Everyone's saying to go to a remote forward solenoid. This way it gets full power to the ignition wire on the starter. So we're gonna head to the junkyard and find one of those. I could buy a new one, but they're like 40 bucks, so if I can find one. Sometimes you get lucky and even find a new one at the junkyard. Plus I also need some pretty thick gauge wire, and there's an ambulance at the junkyard that's just full of wire, so I'm thinking I'll cut some out of that because that's also expensive. Might as well get it for next to nothing at the junkyard. We'll take the Jimmy because it's a nice day today, so yeah, let's go. .350 small block Chevy cold start. And I agree with you guys, whoever said it, I definitely should shim the starter. It's got a little bit of a starter whine, so that's something else to do. So yeah, let's get going. Alright guys, we're at the junkyard. One of my buddies, Ed, found an L33. He already took the heads, they were 799s, and yeah, it's an L33 aluminum block. So that's pretty awesome. I wish I would have found it first, but what are you gonna do? Alright guys, well I came over to this Explorer. That's an Explorer here. Because for the disc brakes there's these little metal clips that go on here, and mine are all rusted out. But I found I screwed up. I got my caliper bracket on backwards. The emergency brake's supposed to be on the top, and I have it on the bottom. But easy enough fix to take the brackets off and switch them around, but that's actually kind of funny that I did that. I was kind of wondering why the calipers looked like they were kind of down on the differential, but I thought, oh, that's just the way they are. But apparently it is because I put these on upside down. Alright guys, I got what I needed. So this is the solenoid, this is off this ambulance, which I'm also going to get some of the wiring out of, but this is all it is. So then you go from your ignition to here. No, your ignition switch goes to here, and this is constant power. And this just turns the relay on and makes it have constant power to the starter when you start good. So hopefully it's gonna fix our problem. If you take a look at this ambulance, like, it's got tons and tons of thick gauge wire, just like everywhere. So rather than go buy some, I'm just gonna recycle some of this. There you go. That's a whole shitload of wiring. That'll do what I need and more. So my buddy there's got that LS out, and look how they're getting rid of it. Pulling on a hood. I wonder where they learned that from. Smart guys. Anyways, I just found this S10 Blazer here, and it's got a small block Chevy in it. So that's pretty cool. You don't see that very often. But I got what I needed, so I'm gonna get out of here. All right, I'm back from the junkyard. Here is the solenoid. I cleaned it all up, so it looks pretty good. So basically all you need to do is go from the starter, the positive on the starter, to here, out to the solenoid, and then this one here goes to the wire that comes from your ignition switch. So when you crank it, essentially you're just turning on this relay and letting the power go through here, so it's a constant, good, strong 12-volt source. So the thing I found on the internet said to use 10 gauge, so I got all this wire from the junkyard, but which is great. It's great wire. It looks like the only piece of 10 gauge I got is this, but it should be good because I only really need one big piece. I should be able to use some of the original stuff. But here's what I ended up with for wire. All this wire, it's like, looks like it's pretty much all 12 gauge wire, plus this big ground wire, power wire, whatever it is, and a bunch of these clamps. And I got all that for 10 bucks. So I can't complain. It's definitely good. It's hard to get thick, well, not hard to get it, but it's expensive to buy this really, really thick wire. So, and for most stuff, you don't need anything like 10 gauge, 12 gauge, or, you know, should be more than enough. So, yeah, now I'm going to figure out where I'm going to put this thing and then start wiring it up. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken this, can't really see it here, but this orange wire goes to the main starter wire, and then it runs through up into the car, and then from there it's run up into the car here, where it's going to get connected to one side of the solenoid, and then the other wire, which is up here, that goes back to the starter, which is already a thick gauge wire, is going to be the other side of the solenoid, and then the wire that comes from the ignition for when you crank it, that one is going to go to that small nub on the solenoid. And I'm going to mount that solenoid up under the dash here somewhere. Good place because it's nice and cool, you know, rather than being under the hood. And it'll be easy to get at if I need to get at it. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, so there you can see the orange wire here goes into the solenoid, and then the red wire, which is the one that goes to the starter ignition, and then the little red wire up here is the one that comes from the ignition switch. So let's give it a try and see what happens. All right, that's probably the first time since I built this thing that it didn't click at least once. So I would say that's the issue, and it's solved. So if anyone else is having this same kind of click and starter issue, that's the way to fix it. If I have any more issues with it, I will definitely let you guys know, but so far it sounds pretty good. Like, it sounds like it like turns over nice and fast too, and instant. Yeah, so I'm really happy with that. Awesome. Now the next thing we're going to do today still is my reverse lights don't work. It's got a micro switch on the shifter that doesn't seem to work good. So what I'm going to end up doing for my trans brake, when I have to go in reverse, I press the button, trans brake button, to back up. So I'm just going to wire the reverse lights into the trans brake button. I see a lot of race car guys do that. It's the easiest way. I'll get rid of a micro switch and make sure that my reverse lights work. I ended up not hooking it to the trans brake because my trans brake works off of ground on that side, which I kind of forgot, I guess. So I ended up just taking it all apart, screwing around with the micro switch for the reverse lights, and now they work good. So everything's working good. It's starting. The reverse lights are working. So we're ready to go cruising. I was saying at the junkyard how I put these on backwards. Now, to me, it makes sense that the emergency brake cable would be lower. But when I looked at that Explorer, like I showed you at the junkyard, it actually goes up on top. So I've actually got this one should be on that side, that one should be on that side. Which I was kind of wondering why it looked like the caliper was kind of down, not kind of up. But no big deal, 4 bolts, switch her up quick, and we'll be back in business. All right, so that was super easy, just 4 bolts on each side, took them off. One to the other side, one to this side. So now you can see how the emergency brake is actually on the top instead of on the bottom. I mean, I don't know, I always thought most cars are on the bottom, so it makes sense, right? But that actually looks way better. If you take a look at it now, the caliper is higher up on the wheel than it was kind of down. And I thought it looked weird that it was down, but I don't know, right? I'm not familiar with Ford Explorers, and I don't remember when I took it apart. So it looks really good now. So that's good. So I'm gonna go in for dinner, and it's actually cruise night tonight. So after dinner, I'm gonna clean the car up a little bit, and hopefully the weather holds up and we'll go cruising. And maybe we'll do a little cruising before I end this video out. All right, so we're ready to go cruising. Got the Nova all shined up. Clayton's got the blue 5.0. There he is over there. And like usual, we're just waiting for Mike. Just waiting for Mike. Now, I know I didn't shoot a bunch of video out cruising, but I figured you probably already maybe saw a lot of that. I mean, there'll be more as the summer goes on, but I started the car a whole bunch of times and it started perfect every single time. No more clicking, so that fixed the problem, which is awesome. If any of you guys have that same kind of issue, you know what to do to fix it now. So that's going to be it for this one. You know, check out the videos and subscribe if you like what you see, and comment and stuff, and we'll check you later.